Welcome back, guys. I will forever say Yemaja because that is just. As I told you guys before, I had book learning for Santeria, and this is over a decade ago. So there were not any awesome groups back then to go learn from. And this is. Remember Heaven Forest I had you in? This is the island version of that, so what better place to talk about the goddess of the sea, well, the orisha of the sea, than the sea. So, what can I tell you about her? I'm like trying to play the game and think about what I want to say at the same time. Not the best move. Um, she is actually really good in nurturing to work with. She saw me have the meltdown today because she saw it was just way too much information for me to process. And she gave me my space, which I appreciated because when I have a meltdown, I need my space. And then she came back and she's like, I'm your mom and I love you and what are you doing? And you are not going anywhere. And one of her sacred things is seashells, by the way. And so she's like, what is going on? Why won't you talk to your mother? Why are you having these panic attacks and this stuff is going on with you and you're not talking to me? So she's first and foremost very nurturing. Now, you can go to 9 billion sites and you can read about her. And keep in mind, in every distinct religion that she appears in, she's going to be very different. Her attributes are going to be very different. And if there are a lot of paths for her, some will be more peaceful and some are going to be more aggressive. But she's like, why are you, running away from your own mom? Do you not like your mother anymore? Do you have a problem with your mom? I'm like, no, mommy. Because when I was studying Santeria out of books, and there would maybe be I'm serious, guys, one article online. We did not have the books and videos and all the stuff you have today. Um, I just got so much strange information. Let's put it that way. I'm sure some of it was good, and some of it drove me kind of nuts. And trying to put it all together today kind of drove me kind of nuts. And so I kind of, that didn't look good. I kind of had to sit down with her today and go, okay, mom, here's the problem. There is at least one person who, and this shouldn't bother me, but you guys know I have social anxiety, did not like me doing the video of you. Not of her, of Frida. And I said, I remember in the past, people would be all welcoming and warm until they decided that I was not of the right race to work with you. And she's just being very comforting about it. She's not dismissing it, The Orisha aren't going to dismiss it. So if you don't feel like you fit in, it's not that they're colorblind. They very well see who you are, and they know who you are and what you are, whatever your heritage is. But if you're their child, you are their child. No, I'm not her child in the Santeria sense of, oh yes, I went and I got a reading and this is who it is. I belong to the Oku family, full stop. But in the sense that she is the mother of many Orisha, Ogu included. I am definitely her child. And he is definitely her child. And what are her foolish children doing? What are these foolish children doing? So she, that's how she came into my life. That and, that crazy woman that I had the misfortune of meeting. So it's kind of like every step of the way, my encounters with people have been very rough. And looking back, I almost now wonder if that was kind of on purpose. They were like, well, we can't take you to a house, but we can drive you half insane by letting you meet horrible people and see what you're made out of. I'm almost wondering now if it was that or I just have colossally bad luck. But, we had to get over that. And I think with Yemaja, one of my problems was I was really afraid that she was going to take out on me trying to get this abusive woman out of my life. And that's kind of a thing we have to talk about. Just because someone claims to have a spirit or a god or someone in their corner, that does not, I repeat, does not give them the right to abuse you. in any way, shape, or form. I don't care if it's verbally, physically. I don't care if it wouldn't mean anything to anyone else. You are not to be abused. The Orisha are not down with that. I know there are people that would disagree, but no, the Orisha are not down with that, especially Yemaja. She can, like I said, have more aggressive kind of military paths, and then she will fight very ferociously for her children, but why is this not picking this up? Because I'm hitting the wrong key, that's why. Um, Overall, she loves her children. She wants them happy, and I think she's amused because I got lost on this deck. But she is a very loving mother. It's said that if, especially if your ancestors went through the Middle Passage, she has special interest in you. That said, I do not believe in forcing an Orisha or a Vudan Loa or a god or goddess on anyone. I had it done to me with Yemaja, and we were lucky enough to get over that, but for some people it's really terrible and scarring, and there was the longest time I wanted nothing to do with her. So I would not say, oh yeah, because you're such and such or so and so you have to starve her. Not at all. If you start working with her, if you call on her, if you play her music, or you do whatever you think is appropriate, and you have a good interaction, that's great. But if you are having an interaction where you're just not clicking, that's fine too. We don't all work with everybody with equal success. Like you'll notice, in every pantheon, you'll have like a few favorites that you click with extremely well, and sometimes you won't. So, back to Yemaja's working with her. She's really, really tolerant of however long it takes her children to reach her. Like, she wasn't exactly thrilled that I needed years to process how that woman had acted in my life, but she understood. She understood it was one of the worst possible first exposures to her, and she was very patient. And she never took out on me that I wanted an abusive person out of my life. I have to make that clear. And I'm making it clear because there are a lot of people that abuse Santeria and abuse working with the spirits. They will kind of say you have to go through all this abuse because I know so-and-so, and if you don't let me abuse you, so-and-so will get angry. No, that's not how it works. And I don't speak for her any more than I would speak for Odin or Loki, and I think you guys all know that. But she's, in general, like I said, the loving mother type, the type to give her children space to heal, like this lovely area we're in now, connected with water. Some say fresh water, some say salt water, obviously all seven seas. And if I did have to already say about if your ancestors came over in the Middle Passage, yeah, especially connected to that. But she's not one to force herself on you, but she can be persistent. If she thinks you need her in your life, she can be persistent. Now with me, she understands. I have anxiety, I have depression, I have social disorders. I grew up in a very poor area to make me a candidate for working with any of the Santeria spirits, and she understands all that. And she will give you the time you need to process, hey, here's this spirit, and she's coming and she wants to work with me. And she's kind of the mother of all women. And wait, what does she mean, all women? Why is she coming over here to work with me? She understands. So she will draw women to her to heal. She will draw you to her to heal, and to heal whatever is broken inside of you. Now, as I found out my experience, some of the people drawn to her, or who claim to be drawn to her, get way out of handle. And that's kind of one of the things I will warn you about. If you're going to work Santeria, or you're going to work with Santeria spirits outside of a house, you should learn enough about the spirits to learn what are the symptoms of going the wrong way with the spirit. It's not that the spirit will ever make you do wrong things, it's that your head can get out of order. It's the best way I can explain it. and you can start acting really erratically, like a person who is working with Yemaja can become extremely short-tempered, extremely intolerant, the total opposite of Yemaja. Um, and like I work with Belieno, and Belieno in Budon is known as the most long-tempered, gentle of the Ogus. You would think I worked with Uncle Fifi, as I call him, because I can get this temper and this attitude on me and I can explode in an instant. And then, of course, I am threatened with going to see my uncle, too. I wouldn't go do that. So you have to be aware of the symptoms of getting out of touch with your spirit. And sometimes you have to take that cool down period if it feels like you are getting out of touch or you are getting overwhelmed. And that's perfectly okay, by the way, to, it's normal in Santeria, Budon, and like Ifa, everything else, to take that time to give yourself a cool down period and to not work for a while. And Yemaja is really good about that. She will give you months, she will give you years if you need it. She will eventually come back around, but she will give you the time you need to heal. And when she draws women to her to heal, it's, you know, sometimes it's a lot of tears in the process. So kind of sometimes like working with Frida, it's a lot of tears in the process because a lot of the stuff women are kind of not taught to respect when we've been hurt. Do you know what I mean? We're taught to suck it up, we're taught to smile and be really pretty and be really nice and get along with everyone. We're never taught to acknowledge when we're hurt. And she will be like, no, you can acknowledge you've been hurt and you can acknowledge wrong things and abusive things have happened in your life. And that's very healing and very liberating. And she's the one that she's very frank and she's very brass tacks because Ogu is her son. She's like, you know, talking to me very frankly. She says, are you not working with him because he's black? And I just about died of a heart attack. Or are you not working with him because he's Ogu? And Ogu and I have this relationship where we either get along like gangbusters and I'm absolutely madly in love with him and he most perfect Loa ever, or most perfect orisha ever, because remember I worked Santeria first, or we can't stand each other. He's mad at me and I'm mad at him and So she will come over and is, once she, you know, she reassures herself it's not just a, you know, culture shock thing between the two of us, that he hasn't decided to introduce me to something. And the spirits can't teach you anything from a house, by the way, but Ogu has definite ideas. Once she has figured that part out, she's like, okay, why are you two not getting along this time? Well, mommy, blah, 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 blah. So she will help you with that. She will help you with your relationship. She will call women to her to renew. She's considered the mother, as I said, of all women. And she's considered the mother of quite a few of the Risha, if not all. Sources differ. Sources differ. I cannot remember the number for the life of me right now. I'm sorry, but it's quite a few. And it's just this thing of working with her for me, since I'm working outside of a house and I can't, you know, I am like not diagnosed as being on the spectrum, but I react to noise and action and energy like I'm on the spectrum, you know, on the autistic spectrum. She's okay with that. She's not asking me to do the impossible and just get over it, because you can't. It's literally the way your brain is wired. She's like, okay, it's okay, and I need you to acknowledge you have this and to acknowledge that's why you haven't been called to a house. That and depression. You cannot be, you know, possessed if you have depression. It's just not good for you. And she is the one who will sit down with me and say, you know, it doesn't mean you're not loved if you're not called to a house, if you're not called to practice Santeria or Voodoo or anything. Because you would drive yourself mad. If you try to be Wiccan and pagan and heathen and Santeria and Voodoo, some people are great at multitasking, but eventually something will break. Eventually something will break. Probably your mind first, because a lot of those groups, unfortunately, do not want to get along. But she can help you reach the point and reach the balance of getting along. Now, traditionally, her gifts are taken to the sea. And there are all sorts of different traditions online, and I will save you a lot of heartache. For every tradition you read and people say this is the way we have always done it, somebody will disagree with it. The best thing you can do is to try a tradition like taking her offerings to the sea and, offering them with a good heart. And if she accepts it, she accepts it. But, very first time you meet her, I'd suggest, like I've often suggested, like the idea of tea with the Loa or coffee with the Orisha or gods. Just kind of spend time getting to know each other, because if you want this long-term relationship, if you want help with having a nurturing mother figure, if you want to work with a goddess connected with the sea and the stars and the Orisha and everything else, take your time. You don't have to rush. Usually, you're not going to have the full-blown, usually, full-blown warrior aspect show up all at once, demanding to know why you want to see her. You're going to meet the more peaceful mother of all women and all people, basically. And she's going to work with you in whatever relationship she decides. That's the important thing. It's not what some troll on the internet wants or what some book wants. Whatever she wants is what you should decide. So for me, we honestly just work on, she's kind of the one that keeps the Santeria part of my life going. Like, I do everything as correctly as possible as you can do outside of a house, but she understands. I forget. I had a stroke. I have panic attacks. I get anxiety and depression. So she's very good to work with because, her needs are usually very simple. I mean, like flowers, fresh water, stuff like that. And she might even instruct you, as hard as it is, at times, to not put out an offering for a while, because if that's making your anxiety go through the roof, that's not going to be good for either of you. And overall, she's really loving and warm to work with. I have noticed, and I'm not trying to be rude, but she is one of those Santeria Orisha that people get attracted to from outside the faith. So she's really super hyper popular, so she does come in every color of the rainbow if you're starting to collect like art for your altar and that. For me, traditionally speaking, people might get upset with that. But, she has children from all over the world. I would say if it doesn't feel like she has an issue, don't worry about what other people think. But just be aware, she's not European. She is African. And there's nothing wrong with saying that. She's an African spirit from Africa, from a god who is African. So, and that's something you should celebrate. And she kind of laughs and smiles because, I'll try to make the food dishes and that. And she'll just kind of shake her head indulgently, because there are some things you need your mom to pass down. Okay? There are some things that you need your mom to pass down. You may be able to make them edible, but if your mom or your grandmom or something didn't pass it down, sometimes it's like, next time, baby, we're getting it out of a package. That's okay. You tried your best. But, overall, she is really rewarding to work with. But I can't tell you so much in the way of like someone who would be a practitioner in the house of more concrete stuff, because with me, we don't have that relationship. We just have the relationship, but she's the one I come to if I'm overwhelmed. She's the one that makes sure that the relationship with the Orisha is going well, and with everyone. And she's the one that when I run into, yes, we run into racial issues. If you are of a different race and you are working, with the Orisha from Santeria, you're going to run into racial issues. And she is the one that comes in and goes, okay, I know you are running into these issues, and I know it hurts, and I know you're not trying to upset other people, and you're not trying to steal anything, because you can't make her come to you, okay? You cannot force her to come. It's just like I told you with any of the spirits or gods or anything. You can't put her in a box and sell her to someone, okay? This is not going to happen. This is the mother of all women. This is kind of the mother of all living things on the world. She is the reason we have water. She is the reason we have all 7 seas. You are not going to lock that into a box. I came back, I preach it. Look, he's getting excited. But you are not going to lock Yemaja in a box or a candle or anything else. It's wonderful to give her stuff. Like, you can have a spirit box, it's something other subject entirely. To offer them, it's definitely, I think, more of a New Orleans thing than anything else. And you can have spirit bottles, stuff like that. But these are offerings. They're not Pokemon, okay? Ooh, we came back to the beginning. We timed out. We do not lock them in a box. So I think I'm being told to get a move on, wrap this up. So we do not lock them in a box. They are not, our whatever. But working with Yemaja can be very rewarding. If she's coming to you, I'd say be respectful. Don't worry about if other people are going to be upset, because there are going to be people. Bigots come in every color of the rainbow. There are always going to be people that are going to be upset. There are people that were upset. I made a Frida video. They're going to love this, because I actually went out and bought this game as a sacrifice to Yemaja. So. And that's it. If you can't do the traditional sacrifices, if you can't be at the sea, obviously, and please, for the love of the goddess, do not just dump any old thing into sea or waterway. Don't pollute, don't make it worse. If you're going to put something, make sure it's biodegradable, make sure you do a tiny bit of research, make sure you know that it's legal to do it in your area. Like, some places it's legal and some people are like, no, don't do that because, the fish could eat it or something else. So just kind of cover your bases, because remember, the first rule of most religions is do no harm. That includes yourself, but that definitely, when you're working with a primordial spirit so attached to the world, that definitely includes all waterways. So, if you can't make an offering, if you can't afford an offering, trying to keep a local body of water clean, if you can do so safely, please don't put yourself in harm's way. That's a wonderful offering. Spending time, playing a song, learning about the spirit, those are all wonderful offerings. As I was taught, in Voodoo, our lives, as corny as it sounds, are our offering to the Loa. If we lead good lives, no matter how many times we fall down, no matter how many struggles we have, and no matter how hard it is to integrate all this Vidon and Santeria and whatever else we got going on, they understand. They understand. They want us to be good people. Not perfect people, good people. So we can have those struggles, we can have those failures, and Yemaja will support us in them. I hope that halfway made sense, because, with the stroke, I know I hold on to about 2 paragraphs worth of information on anyone's spirit or god or goddess, and I feel terrible about it, but, it is what it is. So if you like what you see, like, comment, subscribe, and I will see you later. Bye-bye.